Y'all, it's time. Get out your cozy sweaters, get out your pumpkin spice lattes, because fall is here and I couldn't be more excited. I have been waiting all year for this moment, like we all have, because that's how time works. Anyways, fall is here and I'm really excited. There is a fly going everywhere around my... Woo! Bitch, you were not doing that before the camera. Turn on. I'm just getting attacked by a fly. Okay. Fall is by far my favorite time of the year. I am so ready for it. I've got my Stars Hollow sweatshirt. I've got my orange lights, and we're ready to get into this wrap-up TBR video. Y'all know the drill. We're gonna cover my August wrap-up and then jump into the September TBR. So let's get into it. Gotta get out my handy dandy notes because my brain doesn't remember anything. Gotta pull up my Notion. I read 9 books. That's not too bad. Okay. Oh, let's calm down here. So the first book that I read in the month of August was People We Meet on Vacation. I used August as my last hurrah to summer reads because I went through a really bad book slump in summer and I didn't get to read many summer reads. So August was the singular month for summer reads for me. So in this book, we're following Poppy and Alex, and they are like college friends and they become really close. They're going on all these vacations with each other, and at some point they have a falling out, and this is going back and forth between present and varying years in the past, kind of unraveling what happened, and then we just see how it all resolves, and that's pretty much it. I gave this book 3 stars for a few reasons, but the main ones that come to mind are emotional cheating and painful miscommunication. I just can't do it. This was a fun little read, but those 2 things are what I remember the most from this book, and that's why it's a 3 stars. I love Emily Henry's writing. I'll always read her books. This one just didn't hit the way that her books usually do for me. That's book number 1, People We Meet on Vacation. The next book that I read is The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. This was actually my first Ellen Hildebrand read, and I had a pretty good time, if I'm being honest. So we are following many characters in this book. It's revolving around a wedding party, and the maid of honor turns up dead on the beach, and it's a whole romance whodunit drama, and it was super fun to read. I will say though that as I was reading this, I was getting so confused trying to remember who was who because there are so many characters, but at the end of the day I still really enjoyed it. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed her writing style, and I definitely will be picking up more books by Ellen Hildebrand next summer. The third book that I read in August is probably my favorite read of this year so far, or it's tied with Just for the Summer, and that's Summer Romance. This book is just so good. So we're following Allie, and she is a professional organizer. She is a mom, and she is going through a really difficult divorce, and she's going through this journey to see how she can be happy in her life, because not only is she going through a divorce, she's still dealing with the grief of the loss of her mother from 2 years before, I believe, and she's going through this journey of self-acceptance and realizing that she does deserve to be happy, she does deserve love, and it's just so sweet and it's so well done. I just wanted to give her a hug the entire time. It reminds me a lot of Happy Place, just with how this is a literary fiction. It covers a lot of deeper subjects and really relatable things, but also having some lightheartedness to it. But y'all, the way that this book put me in my feels and made me cry, but I was also giggling throughout the entire thing, easy 5 stars, 6 stars even. This is such an incredible book, and I loved it so much. Still do. Present tense, love this book. And I highly recommend anyone to read this. It's just so cute. I don't even think that you necessarily have to read this in the summer, but reading it in the summer definitely gives it the same vibes. So I would recommend waiting till summer, but if you want to pick it up this fall, I would still recommend it. I think it would still hit. So Summer Romance, 5 stars, loved this book. So the next book that I read was Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the 3rd and final book in the Knock 'Em Out series. This is following Sloane and Lucian. I'm gonna preface this a little bit. I went into this expecting it to not be great. I've heard some people say that they were disappointed in this book, that they just wanted it to be Sloane and Lucian, just like in current day, and they were almost disappointed in all of the backstory. I loved the backstory of this book, and I think the reason why I liked this book so much is because I only recently started reading the Knock 'Em Out series, and I feel like the people that were the most disappointed were the people that started reading this series when it first came out, and so they had a long time to build up expectations for what this book was going to be. I didn't have that, and I really enjoyed this book. I loved having all the backstory. It just really added so much depth and dimension to these characters. It really builds up why they were such enemies. Like, they were kind of terrible to each other for a while, and I loved seeing all this backstory, how Lucian is just like this hard shell with a heart of gold, and Sloane is just... Sloane's just Sloane. I gave this book 4.25 stars. I know that's like really picky and really annoying, but that's just what I'm feeling. I really enjoyed this book. I think that this is probably my favorite book in the series. If I were to rank them, it would be Things We Left Behind, Things We Never Got Over, and then Things We Hide from the Light. That's just my personal taste. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely want to reread this series closer together so I can have a more fresh take on each of them, and also be able to remember the mystery background of everything, because I was not remembering any of the case that we're following throughout this. That's definitely something that I'm going to want to do in the future, but for right now, 4.25 stars. Loved this book. So good. My foot is falling asleep. I should be concerned, right? The next book that I read was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Y'all already know this is a 5-star read for me. I'm doing a rereading Harry Potter series on my channel, so if you haven't checked those out and you want to, definitely recommend. I go into depth in those videos on my rankings and my synopsis and all of that stuff. But overall gist of this book. This is the 4th book in the Harry Potter series, and we're following Harry as he's going back to Hogwarts. And this particular year, there is a Triwizard tournament going on at Hogwarts School, where they bring 2 other wizarding schools in to compete. And that's basically the whole gist of the book, is this competition. If I say any more, those that don't want spoilers, I'll spoil something by accident, because I've just seen it so many times that I forget what's a spoiler and what's not. So I'm gonna be super bland. Harry at Hogwarts, Triwizard Tournament is happening at Hogwarts with 2 other wizarding schools, and a lot of stuff goes down. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm scared to spoil anything for those that haven't had the chance to get into this series and this world yet. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, but 5 stars. This whole series is 5 stars, but 5 stars. Next up, we've got Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. If I'm being completely honest, I barely remember what this book was about. But I have in my notes that I gave this book 3 stars. I feel like I'm gonna have to knock it down to 2.75 just because I don't remember. Oh, got it. Okay. So we're following Annie right here. She owns a flower shop, and she's having some issues with her love life, and she basically strikes up a deal with Will to be her dating coach or her love coach to try and get her a man. And just based off the cover, you can just guess what happens. There's my synopsis for you, because I don't remember most of what happened in here. 2.75 stars. And then we have Dial A for Aunties. This was such a fun read. I gave this book 4 stars. It's so fun. I guess this would be considered a cozy comedy thriller, but it's not thrilling. It's just like there's a lot of chaos in this book, is all I'll say. So pretty much we're following our main girl, Meddy. She gets in a situation where she accidentally kills a guy. All of her aunts and her mom get involved to cover it up with her, and they're all working together as a wedding planning company. They end up having the body at the wedding, trying to figure out what to do with it. So much happens, and it's kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's kind of vibe. This was just a hysterical read. I was dying laughing at several parts in this book. Highly recommend. It's just such a fast and easy read, and just so fun. It was also really cool too, because this book revolves a lot around Asian culture, and it's talking about specific wedding traditions in Asian culture that were really interesting to read about. And it was so cool to read about them and see what traditions are before, during, and after the wedding, and just the family dynamic with our main characters. It was just really cool and really fun, and I think this was really well done, and it was such a fun book. So I gave it 4 stars. It might even go up to a 4.5. I don't know, but I'm feeling 4 stars right now. Such a good book. Highly recommend. This would definitely be a good fall read too. Just saying. Okay, and the last physical book that I read was Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. I gave this 2.5 stars. Basically, we're following a lot of young chess pros in their tournament season, in their careers, and their training. And it's very interesting. There's just some really weird elements to this, and it felt really choppy and immature. And when I say young, I mean they're 18 years old and up. So not like high school age, but like college age young. And I also think that it's so cringy when books talk about social media, specifically TikTok. They talk about TikTok so much in this book that I was just cringing so hard. Not doing that. So 2.5 stars. Wasn't my fave. That's all on that one. So the last book that I read in August, I actually started and finished it yesterday because I listened to the audiobook when I was doing a work trip, and that is One by One by Frida McFadden. So in this book, we're following this group of friends, and they get in a situation where they are stranded in the woods, and one by one, people in their friend group just start disappearing, and you're just like, what is going on? And that's basically it. And when I tell you I was on the edge of my seat, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I listened to it the entire way to and from Nashville. I was sat, not only because I had to drive the car, but I was sat because I was so into it. And I have to say, the plot twist at the end really got me. I was thinking the entire time, like, oh, it's this person and they're this person and this and this and this and this. I was completely wrong. I got it completely wrong. All that being said, I gave this book a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I was super entertained, and the plot twist got me. What else can you ask for in a thriller? August wrap up, done. Now let's get to the September TBR. We've got the prompt jar. There's so much dog hair in here, holy crap. So I think what I'm gonna do for my September TBR is I'm going to draw 7 TBR prompts because I feel like I'm gonna wanna read the most during September, and I'm just feeling optimistic. So let's get to drawing and then we'll pick the books. You know how it is. Number 1 is A Book with Magic. I'm pretty sure I got that last month too. I already know what that one's gonna be. Okay, let's get from the bottom here. So much dog hair, holy crap. All right, number 2, a fantasy book. That works for me. Number 3, a popular book talk book, either past or recent. I'll pick it out later, but that's fun. Number 4, a book by one of your favorite authors. Ooh. That's fun. I love that. Number 5, a mystery or thriller book. This jar is on my side, I swear. We've got 2 more. Well, number 6 is a book that has a movie or TV adaptation. I fear that's going to be a harder one. Okay, last one. I want y'all to see it first. Can you see it? Okay. A book with people on the cover. I believe I can do that. Let's see here. I don't remember what order I drew these in. Okay, I'll start with this one because I'm nervous this is going to be the hardest one, possibly. A book that has a movie or TV adaptation. So, you scooch on over here. Okay, I think Butcher and Blackbird is supposed to be getting a movie, I think. There's Daisy Jones and the Six. Maybe this isn't gonna be as hard as I thought. Me being an overthinker, what? Who would have thought? Oh my god, this is gonna be so hard to get out. Okay, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything over here. Oh, Ender's Game. That has a movie. I think those are all of the options for here. So we've got Butcher and Blackbird, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Ender's Game. I feel like Butcher and Blackbird would be a fun one. I've wanted to get into some dark romance and just give it another shot. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my TBR and see if I'll reach for it in September. I think that's a plan. Let me do the more specific ones first, and then I'll do the more generic ones. How about that? That's probably better. So, a book with magic. obviously. Gonna continue with the series, and this is the thickest book in the entire series. She's a thick one, but also definitely one of my favorites. So I'm very, very excited about this. Oh, how many pages are in here? 800 pages on the dot. Oh my lord. But I'm gonna read it this month, 100%. You can bet on that. Then we've got a book by one of your favorite authors. Whoop. It's time. It's time for me to continue Throne of Glass. I have been procrastinating continuing with the series just because I haven't been in the mood to read it, and I feel like I have to. I don't want to just be going through the motions. I want to be in it. I want to be in this world. So I think it's time. Sarah J. Maas is definitely one of my favorite authors, so it fits, it sits. Popular book talk book, either past or recent. I'm so sorry. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to. Magnolia Parks. I've been talking about it all year, and I need to be in this series. Ooh, the text is huge. Love that. I think I need to do it. This was definitely a popular TikTok book like a year ago or something. A year and a half, I'm not sure, but this was definitely a popular TikTok book, and I've been wanting so badly to read it, and I think this would be a nice break between all of the fantasy that I've got going on so far. So Magnolia Parks for book number 4. Now we're down to the generic ones. So a fantasy book. Let's see here. I wanted to read this one for a while. I think for another fantasy book, I'm going to do Heartless Hunter. I have heard incredible things about this book, and I've been wanting to read it for so long. I just have forgotten to pick it up, and I think if I just have it with the rest of my September TBR, I will be more likely to grab it because I want to be in the know. I want to understand all the hype about this book. So this is going to be my fantasy book, even though I have 2 other incredibly thick fantasy books in my September TBR, but you can never have too many fantasy in the fall. So, and then a mystery or thriller book. I think I know what I want to do for this one as well. I think I'm going to go with The Silent Patient for this one, just because I've had this on my physical TBR since I got back into reading, like 2.5, 3 years ago maybe. So I've had this book for a really long time, and I've really wanted to read it. I just haven't gotten around to it, and I knew I wanted to read it this fall anyways. So I think we're going to go with The Silent Patient. I think we're going to go ahead and jump on the train for this one. The last one is a book with people on the cover. This one's gonna be a little harder to do. That also has people. That has people. This has people. Too scared right now. People. Person. Oh god, oh god. This bottom shelf is just really giving me some grief. My cart is in shambles. So we have to choose from Hello Stranger, Finlay Donovan is Killing It, Love Theoretically, give Allie Hazelwood some redemption here. The X-Hex, this would be a reread for me, but it just fits all the fall vibes. Bride by Allie Hazelwood, I've heard not great reviews about this one, so that might be an automatic no, because I don't think that I can read 2 not so great Allie Hazelwood books in a row and give her another chance. I've got 7 Year Slip, which would also be a reread for me. And then we have The Dead Romantics, which both this and The 7 Year Slip are by Ashley Poston, but Dead Romantics would not be a reread for me. So let me just look at all of you. I think I'm gonna put Bride away. I kind of want to throw a romance in here, so I think I'm gonna put Finlay back. I'm really just between the super fall books. Hold on. Get in there. Holy mother. Stop being so dramatic. Thank you. Okay, I think my top 3 are 7 Year Slip, Dead Romantics, and the X-Hex. And both of these would be rereads, and this would be new. I think with that, maybe I just go ahead and do Dead Romantics, because technically, out of these 3, this is the only one that's truly on my physical TBR. These are just, I want to reread them. This is, I haven't read it yet. So I think with that being said, I think we're gonna go with Dead Romantics for our 7th and final book for our September TBR. I think that's it. This cart really went through the ringer this time, huh? So this is the final lineup for our September TBR. So we've got Butcher and Blackbird, Order of the Phoenix, Queen of Shadows, Magnolia Parks, Heartless Hunter, Silent Patient, and The Dead Romantics. This is a good one. I'm really excited about all of these reads. I'm just so ready for fall. And I think that this is going to help me get even more in the fall mood, even though I've kind of been acting like it's fall since July, but it's fine. Fall is a mindset, not a season. Anyways, guys, that is it for my August wrap up and my September TBR. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below what books you are most excited to read in the month of September. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!